Westbrook is going to talk about the expungement.
Good evening, again. I want to kind of share this information with you because it's very important. A lot of people are not familiar with the changes that have been made with the record expungement, and there have been some changes in the past. In order to get your record expunged, you would have to actually go through the criminal center to actually get that expunged. But now you're actually the district attorney's office you can actually get that records expunged for you. That we do have forms, applications here for those who have charges that needs to be expunged off their records, which can actually go to your local district attorney office instead of it being sent off to someone else to get it done. So we just want to make sure that everybody has that information. Also, I wanted to give you information in reference to the open record request. There has been a reform with the open record request. At one time, there was for charges there was 25 cents per page. With the new reform, there's only 10 cents per page now that you will have to pay for an open record request. And we want to make sure that people are familiar with the open record request, because a lot of times you go ask for things and people tell you that you're not able to get that information, but through the open record request you can get a lot of, our government is even open to the open record request. It's public records. A lot of people, as far as criminal records and things at the courthouse, once those records has a disposition on, you are able to get that information through an open record request. So we want to make sure everyone was familiar with the changes that have been made with the open record request and the record restriction, which is normally called the expungement. I also want to elaborate a little bit in reference to what our former C.J. Alice was speaking of on the Sammy Davis case. The NAACP did file a complaint with the Department of Justice in Washington, D.C. in reference to the Sammy Davis case. We did get a response back, actually the week before he was terminated. We got a response back from Washington, D.C. that they did affirm with the decision that the G.B.Rs and our district attorney made. But we have also filed another complaint with the Department of Justice in reference to the office of Sammy Davis, because after that decision, he allegedly shot a dog and 2 other people. And so we're in the process at this time, we're going to be setting a petition up on our website to make sure that he do not get his job back. So we're asking for everyone, we're going to be putting it out in the public. We're going to be asking people to go on our website and sign this petition in reference to Mr. Sutton not being able to go back into employment. And also we need to make sure that that goes to post so he won't work anywhere else as a police officer.
Reverend Baker from the land of promise, and he's going to talk about the land of promise.
Good afternoon. How everyone doing?
Right, all right.
We just want to give you a little information today about a ministry that's about 20 miles outside of Macon, Georgia, in the area we call Culloden, Georgia. It's ran by the General Missionary Baptist Convention, where our president right here out of Macon is Reverend Curtis Raines Sr. It's a ministry that deal with men. We train men for ministry that may be homeless, have substance abuse problems, alcohol problems. One of the things about this ministry is that you don't have to have a dime to come, and we still welcome you. We need you as a community maker. We all know some people. Drugs and alcohol affect our community, our families, and it's that time now that we stop saying they always gonna be like that. If we look at our own life, we have changed. And I just believe if you give a person a chance, they too can change. So let's support ministry. Let's continue to support Sister Hunt. There's another note I want to tell you about. 2 weeks ago, the Justice Department was here in Macon, interviewing a lot of people from the Board of Education. We got a fight on our hands. In the last 3 weeks, we have done 19 Open Records Act, and a lot of information have come out. I stopped by to tell you, Dr. Smith is not for us. He's not for our kids. We need to have a voice. We need to stand up. We need to speak up. And we need to speak out. Our kids is not getting educated in Macon, Georgia. And we just sitting around thinking it's okay. Here we go. We need every organization to come together to have one voice for the importance of educating our kids here in Bibb County. I want to thank Sister Hunt, our sister in the ministry, for all her good work. Amen. And just a word of encouragement. Don't get weary in well doing.
All right, that's what I'm talking about. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Baker. The land of promise. I used to, when I was able to get around better than I am, I used to go out there back in '96 up to about 2000. I used to go out there, and I was kind of like a mother to the guys out there. And you'd be surprised at some of the things some of those fellas have gone through in their lives because they didn't know how to cope. They didn't have coping skills. And they would go and get dried up, and then they go right back, go get clean, and then they go right back. But now through this program, they are taught coping skills and how to deal with the issues and the problems that they're confronted with on a daily basis and what they need to do to survive. A lot of them get depressed when they can't find work. And sometimes they can't find work because of their educational background. They're not prepared. So we're working and trying to make sure that we have all kind of programs available to our young people to prepare themselves, like EL High School, where they can go at a very reasonable rate and get to finish that high school diploma. And one thing I like, Mrs. Lucas and them take out time to go through those lessons carefully with them to make sure they understand the process, understand a congregation of verbs and a subject and verb agreement, and understand the mathematical process and understand different things in this field of science. So we got to take our time with our young people and make sure that they are prepared. Now through that school, we have students now down at Fort Valley State, Macon College, Central Georgia Tech, which is now Middle Georgia Technical College. We have people at Fort Valley State, as I said, Valdosta State. We have folk down at Savannah State. We have them over at Georgia College University. We have them that have gone into the military that were not able to go because they didn't have the high school diploma. Now they're in the service, and some of them are in classes in the service. So it was a needed process. And don't let folk badmouth stuff in your community that's helping your people. Sometimes because they didn't think of the idea, they want to badmouth the person that came up with it. That's a sad person that don't know how to compliment somebody else when they're doing something good. And now we have Miss Dallas Anderson with affordable health care. She's going to come and talk to us about some of the things that we need to do to prepare ourselves. Mrs. Dallas Anderson, who is an Obamacare, affordable care agent. And we want her to come share some of that information with us at this time. I'm going to play a song and give her a chance to get her thoughts together because she was eating, y'all.
Hi, my name is Dallas Anderson, and as Ms. Hunt says, I'm with Obamacare, affordable health insurance, and I didn't know that I was going to speak about it, but basically what I would like for people to understand about Obamacare is it is not a program, rather it's a tax credit. It's tied into the IRS income tax return. So if you file taxes and you qualify, you will get the credit. The credit is what's used to pay your premiums. It's not like a Medicaid program or a Medicare program. It is simply a tax credit that if you qualify, instead of paying $300 or $400 a month for your insurance, you might pay 1 penny. You might pay $2. It's all based on how much of a credit that you are eligible for. The season starts back November 15th and it goes through February 15th of next year. That's the only time that we can enroll people. I'm not the only person that's in this area that can sign people up for Obamacare. I don't know the name of the other person, but I know Senator Lucas can also sign people up for Obamacare. I mean, it's plenty of people that we can sign up. This is actually something that's helping people a lot. I have signed up people that are sick, have cancer, that have all kinds of illnesses that they could not get insurance before. Now they can. So it's really been a blessing to people to get them signed up. So if you know anybody, you can call me, Dallas, or you can call Senator Lucas if you need some Obamacare.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. And we also have Monica Aldrich, that is another agent that's a member of National Action Network that does affordable care. Mrs. Anderson is a faithful member of National Action Network also, and she does a lot to help the people in our community. We need to make sure that we are encouraging people to vote, to register to vote. We need another 10,000 registered voters by election time. We got a couple of weeks left and we need to be working real hard to get those people registered. Don't give up. We got to get them registered. We've got to get them registered. We cannot sit by and let this season go by and we not do what we need to do to get people to the polls and register so that they will be able to vote. This is a crucial election and people keep telling you how crucial it is, and don't think that this is, we just saying something to be saying something off the top of our heads. No, this is a fact. Our governor that we have in there now, who doesn't need affordable care, who doesn't need any medical assistance because we're paying his insurance. You pay his insurance every year that he's there. When he retires, you'll still be paying his insurance. So he refused those millions of dollars that could have come in here to help other people. He refused them. And then we ended up with a whole lot of people without insurance. Without insurance. And you know that's a crime. We ought to want to make sure the medical center, other healthcare areas have been talking about the cost that it has been to them to not have that coverage to come in to us. So we know that we need to look at our people that's running for governor. We have a choice. We have a choice now. Jason Carter is running for governor, and Deal is running for re-election. So you need to look at both candidates, look at their information that they have available, and make sure that we are making the right choice. The right choice.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How's everybody doing?
All right.
How's everybody feeling?
Great.
This is an amazing time to be a resident and voter in the state of Georgia. This is a critical time to be a resident and a voter in the state of Georgia. Because now more than ever, everything that we care about, everything that we think about is currently under some type of assault.
Therefore, we are at a critical juncture in the state of Georgia. So I stand here proudly not only as the chief campaign strategist for the re-election of one of our state's most trusted public servants, Congressman Sanford Bishop, but I am a member of the NAACP and I am a member of NAM. So let me first establish protocol and express my sincere thanks to both of these awesome presidents, these leaders of our local National Action Network, Mrs. Sara Hunt, and our president of the NAACP, Mrs. Gwen Westbrook. And then today we found out they singing president. I mean, not only are they leading the people, but they are also singing the hymns of the church. And when the hymns of the church are sang, I need to get an amen. When folks start singing the hymns of the church, it is a call to action. Because it means that the land is sick and that the land needs a healing. And so the way that we as citizens begin, I didn't say Christians or Muslims or Jews, I said the way that we as citizens begin to move towards the process of healing the land is through our vote. It is through social action and social activism. When the Secretary of this state can be sitting on 51,000 voter applications that he refuses to process, denying 51,000 Georgians their opportunity to have a voice in their government. It's time for us to get together, sing the hymns, do the call to action, register to vote, and vote. Don't worry, I'm going to talk about the congressman soon. But we are at this critical juncture. When the governor of this state 2 weeks ago terminates 2 of the board members of the Department of Community Health because they refuse to advocate a tax hike on people who operate nursing homes and personal care homes, it is time for us to have a call to action. It's time for us to register to vote, and it's time for us to vote. When 41,000 students are no longer on the rolls of our state colleges and universities because our governor decided to remove hope from the Hope Grant, and those students not only attend our baccalaureate program schools, but also our technical colleges, when 41,000 of our young people are denied an opportunity to have assistance to go to school, it is time for us to have a call to action to register to vote and to vote. When a governor pays a magazine to say that this is the #1 state where businesses are being operated, and yesterday we find out that we are number 50 in the nation, and an unemployment rate of 8.1,
Come on now.
it's time for a call to action, for us to register to vote and to vote. And last and certainly not least, when our students are missing the equivalent of 120,000 hours of education in their lifetime because our governor will not fund education properly, and so we're cutting the number of school days, cutting the number of teachers, but filling up the classrooms, It's time for us to have a call to action to register to vote and to vote. On tomorrow at 3 p.m. on Peoples Street at the NAN headquarters, in the Southeast NAN headquarters, Michael Brown's parents will be visiting our state with Reverend Sharpton. Ferguson is not in Missouri. Ferguson is wherever young men of color have lost their lives at the hands of the people who are supposed to serve them.
Amen.
It's not just Missouri.
Tell it, Kimberly.
Okay? Yet, once again, we know that our public servants and first responders are under tremendous stress, are working with inferior products, are dealing with unimaginable budgets because of the leadership in this state. If we have rogue DAs,
Come on, say it.
that's because of the vote. Our Superior Court judges, that's because of the vote.
Amen.
If you're not voting, you're not on a jury.
Tell the story.
I hear people all the time say, if I had been on that jury, well, honey, if you're not voting, you'll never be on a jury.
Say it, say it.
But you may hope I'm on yours. So I'm saying all of this to say that we are at an extremely critical point as Georgians. Extremely critical. The 2nd Congressional District comprises 29 counties that borders southwest Georgia on the Alabama line and on the Florida line. I have had the honor of speaking to citizens in the 29th Congressional District, Black, white, Latino, a growing Asian population, and then even when I go down to the Fort Garner area and over in Chattahoochee, Native Americans from the Muskogee Creek tribe that is originally over here with the Ocmulgee River celebration here. And I was determined to go to the rural counties, to community organize and to hear what their concerns were. Because sometimes people want to say to us, well, people in the country are happy. Well, I'm here to tell you, people in the country are not happy. People in our rural areas are as disgusted with the education system, the leadership in Atlanta, some of the leadership in Washington, D.C., inadequate daycare, inadequate housing, inadequate employment opportunities, and inadequate opportunities to move from poverty to at least the middle class. And that's across the color line. Because the issues that I'm talking about today have nothing to do with the color line, but have everything to do with the equity line.
All right.
Say it, Kimberly.
And in so many ways, the income equality line. Because in our state, the infant mortality rates sometimes are higher in the white community than in the black community in the rural areas. And that is because of a lack of access to health care. But our governor, Mr. Deal, no deal, and all that dealing, no deal, crooked deals, Nathan deal, it's all a bad deal,
All right.
has had the unmitigated gall to say that he will not approve a Medicaid expansion on affordable health care, helping almost 1 million Georgians who have no access to adequate health care, to even have the basics of what any human being deserves. So I didn't come here today to ask you to vote for my candidate. I came here today to ask you to vote for someone who's a trusted public servant, Not someone who woke up yesterday and decided, I'll buy a couple of signs, I'll try and polarize a community racially, that I'll think this side is better than this side. But my candidate has a proven record of working for families, for veterans, for our young people, for our institutions of higher learning, for our technical colleges. He is for small business, big business, and anyone that stands for moving and advancing the middle and southwest Georgia communities. Thank you so much for what you're doing today to try to expand information and access to this community. I was listening to a young lady on television last night, and she was talking about how many times she tried to vote one day. And it struck me oddly, and I said, how many times one person tried to vote in one day on election day? And she was talking about just the challenges that were presented to her just in order to exercise her right to vote. And then I remembered some conversations that I've had right here in Bibb County, Commissioner Lucas, with others who every election have a challenge trying to exercise their right to vote right here in Macon-Bibb County. Yet I've heard nothing about Sunday voting. Yet I've heard nothing about people being able to go over there and get a free ID if they have the other paperwork and things of that nature and they need to get an ID. I have not heard of additional places where people will be able to vote on Saturday. I've not heard of additional places where people can vote on early voting. But yet we say they're disenfranchising the vote in North Carolina.
What about in Georgia? Macon, Georgia.
So there is a great deal of work to do. I thank you for your time. I hope I haven't bored you to tears. As you know, Tuesday, September 23rd is National Voter Registration Day. We have several events that we're partnering with several organizations in the Albany region and with Darton College and Albany State College and some of the technical colleges there. October 6th is the deadline. Also, I forgot the number, but call Brian Kemp and tell him to give those 51,000 folks their right to vote before October 6th. And last and certainly not least, if you have this piece of paper, our numbers are on there. Give us a call. We'd love to have your help. We'd love to be a part of your network. There isn't anywhere that we won't go to try and encourage the citizens of the Super 2nd Congressional District. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for the opportunity, Mrs. Hunt and Mrs. Westbrook.
Thank you, Kimberly. Great job, great job. She brought out so many points of interest that should be to all of us. And we're gonna have to start paying attention to what's going on in our community, in our area, the injustices that are taking place. And wherever no justice, no peace. There cannot be peace if there is injustice going on. I think I see Mr. Scarborough. Yay! Come on up here and tell us something. When I first moved to Macon, I remember Mr. Scarborough was an attorney. I think I met him through Frank Homer 40 years ago.
40 years or longer. About 44 years ago.
You right.
Yeah,
you right.
And I just noticed that I have a call from a friend of everybody here, I think, John Swin. Yeah, that is John Swin on the telephone now. I think he was going to be on the way.
He's on his way.
So let me tell him John, I missed him. I missed him. I didn't answer it in time. I was in the legislature back then. I was the last half of Maddox and the first half of Clark. That was a long time ago. That was back in the late 60s and early 70s. And I'm with you. I've seen some things happen in the last few days that have troubled me a great deal. I have started a page that's actually connected to Facebook. But all you got to do is www.checkerboardgang.com, and it's a political and social discussion page. So if you want to take a look there, you can kind of get my take on what's happening these days. And I try to keep it current, and I try to not get too serious. In fact, I try to call it nonpartisan, because you don't want to cut out half of your audience. You never know, you might convert somebody to your way of thinking, and that's what I try to do. That's what I attempt to do, but I appreciate the opportunity of saying hello to everybody. And if you remember, just go to www.checkerboardgang.com, and that will take you directly to the Facebook page of checkerboardgang.com.
Now, what is Checkerboard Gang?
It is Checkerboard Gang, G-A-N-G. It was an idea that I came up with about a year ago, I guess. You know, when we were going through our consolidation elections. I did the moderating on most of those that were sponsored by the Democratic Party. And later I did the election returns with a young man, Eddie Davenport. I don't know if you knew him or not. He and I were going to try to get something together because we got along so well. And we came up with the name Checkerboard Gang. And unfortunately, Eddie saw fit to leave the country. So he's no longer here, but I kept the name because I thought it was a good name, and I thought it kind of said what I was trying to do, go completely across the spectrum. And it was a page for everybody. And I welcome everybody to come and everybody to comment, as a matter of fact. But it's checkerboardgang.com. And that will get you there. Or if you're on Facebook, you can just put Checkerboard Gang, and that will take you to it as well. And I discuss all kind of things that you'd probably be interested in. Meetings, things like that, and I have an awful lot of pictures. In fact, I'll probably be there tomorrow evening with Bob Pickling down there on the river taking pictures of the band that he's got down there playing. So I appreciate the opportunity of speaking to everybody. And get out the vote. That is the big thing, and that is the problem. We've got people that are making decisions for us that have never seen a battlefield. They've never missed a meal, and they've never held an elected office, and yet they feel like they ought to make all the decisions. So if we don't get out the vote, then it's not going to happen. And we can't continue letting it go down the road that it's going now. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Mrs. Scarborough. Thank you for those comments, and we're going to check your page out. It's time for us to really get on target and get ourselves online for moving forward. We can't move forward if we still retrogressing and things are going on in such a negative way. We want to thank Ms. Carter for coming and really shedding light on a lot of situations. And please don't take it lightly about contacting the Secretary of State's office. No application should be held up in the manner that they're being held up. No situation. Oh, we have Mary Lou here. Come on up, Mary Lou, and say something to us this morning. This afternoon.
That's the
We're so
honorable
glad to
Lou.
have you here with us. The mayor of Gordon, Georgia.
Cheers.
How you doing?
Wonderful.
Well, good afternoon.
Enjoy.
Hey, everybody. And how are you? Good. You're looking young over there. Keep it up, girlfriend. It is such a pleasure to be here on such a beautiful afternoon in the great city of Macon, Georgia, here at Tatman Square Park, and to see each and every one that's out here. Bring you greetings from the city of Gordon, Georgia, where I am Mayor Mary Ann Whipple-Lou. And I guess I'll just close a little bit. Now back to this. As I said, I bring you greetings from the great city of Gordon. And in spite of all the controversy and all that's going on, the focal point is that we do have a vision for this season, for the citizens of Gordon. And we look forward to bringing that into focus and to make it a possibility after everything is all over and said good. And I see one of the Miley twins. Hey, good to see you too. But nevertheless, it's just wonderful to be here and to say hello. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Mayor Lou.